Get ready, 12th man, because what is going on behind the scenes in Seattle right now is going to test every bit of our loyalty and shift everything we know about this team's future. Being on top of the world feels incredible, but the price to stay there is steeper than any of us imagined. I have some inside tracks on moves that could either bolster our defense or completely dismantle our championship offense. You seriously won't believe what we have on deck today. So grab a coffee, hit that like button, and let's dive straight into the news. Also, make sure to subscribe as we push toward that 1,000 sub goal. Look, we are all still enjoying that sweet championship afterglow. But the NFL world never sleeps, and what is happening at the scouting combine could completely reshape our defense for next season. There's a deafening silence coming from one of our biggest anchors, DeMarcus Lawrence. The veteran who brought that grit and savvy we desperately needed for the Super Bowl run is seriously considering hanging them up at 34 years old. Losing that kind of leadership right now is a scary thought. But this is where things get interesting strategically, because the front office is not caught napping. The word in Indy is that Seattle has already identified the perfect successor to keep terrorizing opposing quarterbacks. The hottest analysis right now from heavy hitters like Nate Tice and Charles McDonald suggests Seattle should use that precious 32nd pick to bring in some fresh blood from Texas A&M. We are talking about Cassius Howell. This kid is a physical freak at 6'4" and 250 pounds who absolutely flew in his speed drills, clocking a massive 4.59 40-yard dash. For a defensive lineman, that is just wild. He is exactly the type of modern pass rusher who fits our scheme, since he is explosive, technical, and can generate constant pressure. He racked up 11.5 sacks in his final college season. Can you picture this young gun learning from our remaining vets and becoming the new face of our defensive line? A lot of fans might be asking about our secondary, since we might lose some pieces there too. The strategic reality is that a dominant front four makes life easy for any cornerback. If Howell can translate that sack production to the pros, he solves a long-term problem before it even becomes a crisis. He still needs to develop against the run, but in Seattle, he will have the support system to grow without the pressure of carrying the load on day one. The impact of this pick would be felt immediately in the rotation. And if you think this defensive move is bold, just wait until you hear what is being cooked up for our offense, because what is coming next is even more unbelievable, and it hits right at the heart of our ground game. Sometimes we have to face the cold, hard reality of the NFL, and what I am hearing about our backfield is enough to keep you up at night. Our Super Bowl 60 hero, the guy who put the team on his back and served as the heartbeat of our offense, Kenneth Walker III, might be playing his final days in a Seahawks uniform. It is a gut punch, I know. But the truth is the market is on fire, and teams like the Houston Texans are lining up to throw a bag of money at him that Seattle just might not be able to match without wrecking the salary cap. Dan Graziano over at ESPN basically confirmed that the outside interest is so massive that his departure is looking inevitable. It is that tough moment where championship gratitude meets the cold business of football. But stay calm, because John Schneider is not a championship GM by accident, and there's already a plan being worked on in the shadows. The rumor floating through the halls in Indy is a potential trade with the Detroit Lions for the veteran David Montgomery. Think about the scenario for a second. Montgomery is 28, has an extremely team-friendly contract at just $6 million for 2026, and he wants a fresh start where he can be the lead dog again. He saw his touches drop in Detroit, but we all know what he can do with the rock in his hands. The Lions might be willing to let him go for a fifth-rounder. That would be a masterstroke for Seattle, landing a proven starter for pennies on the dollar. This move makes perfect sense strategically, because our guy Zach Charbonnet is unfortunately facing a long road back from that brutal ACL tear in the playoffs. We need someone who can show up ready to take hits and grind out yards from week one. Montgomery is a total bruiser, a physical runner who fits the Seahawks identity to a T. Just imagine the security of having a vet like that leading the charge while Charbonnet recovers without being rushed back. The fan base is already debating if it is worth letting Walker walk to pivot toward this cheaper and more efficient trade. And if you think this is the only card the front office has to play for our running game, get ready, because this next part is even more surprising. The strategy for Seattle this year is looking like a high-stakes chess match, and the final piece of the puzzle might come directly from a conference rival we know all too well. With the potential exit of our MVP Kenneth Walker III and Charbonnet still mending, our backfield is a giant question mark. But the word behind the scenes, backed up by guys like Adam Schefter, is that Aaron Jones is hitting free agency after his stint with the Vikings, and Seattle is popping up as a prime destination for this elite veteran. It is a move nobody saw coming, but it makes a ton of sense when you look at the immediate impact he would bring to our championship offense. Think about the value of a guy like Jones. He has 3,000-yard seasons under his belt and is a nightmare for defenses when he catches passes out of the backfield. Even coming off a quieter year in Minnesota due to a nagging hamstring, his talent is top tier. The strategic play here is brilliant. Jones would not necessarily have to be a bell cow every single snap, but he would be that crucial veteran presence while Charbonnet gets back to 100% after knee surgery. He is the kind of player who understands the nuances of the game, reads defenses like a pro, and still has plenty of gas left for big moments. His time in Green Bay and Minnesota gave him a level of toughness few backs have. Just picture it. Seattle signs Jones at a fair price, locks down our ground game from day one, and provides an elite mentor for whatever young talent we grab in the draft. That takes a massive load off our quarterback and keeps that physical identity that won us the Lombardi. The fans are split. Some want Montgomery for the power, and others want Jones for that versatility in the air. One thing is certain, the front office is not going to let our offense go unprotected. And while we all try to process these huge shifts coming when free agency kicks off on March 9th, we have to look at the big picture. We saw today that staying at the top of the NFL requires cold decisions and veteran moves to keep Seattle dominant. Between Lawrence potentially retiring, the arrival of a playmaker like Howell, and these explosive options in the backfield with Montgomery or Jones, the future of our team is being rewritten as we speak. It is both exciting and a little nerve-wracking to see how this championship roster is going to transform for the repeat run. Which of these moves would you make first to save our running game? Drop your thoughts in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and smash that like button so we can keep this 12th man community growing.